Hello everybody, my name's Nerdy Lover and welcome to another episode of our football betting series here on YouTube, Premier League Edition. Well, not really Premier League Edition, because the weekend coming up does not feature any Premier League matches. Today's video is going to break down 4 selections, 1 in the EFL Cup semi-finals and then 3 FA Cup matches over the weekend. But before we jump into that, let's quickly recap our perfect week in the Premiership. We did have 5 bets and all of them came in, bringing in £67. Start things off with Liverpool versus Chelsea under 2.5 goals. 0-0 in the end, I do believe, despite Chelsea scoring in the first few minutes. That goal was chalked off and we did pick up a £11.40 profit. Leicester versus Brighton, we did lay Leicester. And Brighton did it the hard way, giving Leicester a 2-1 lead and scoring late on to equalise, making it 2 goals apiece. Our £20 stake returned 8 there. West Ham Everton, we thought we had bottled this, and I thought the perfect week was in jeopardy, as West Ham did take a 2-goal lead into the half-time interval, but there was no more goals in that game. West Ham 2, Everton 0, under 2.5 came in, £17.60. Brentford versus Leeds, that was another 0-0, but Leeds didn't win, that's the most important thing, we picked up £14 there. And finally, on the Sunday evening, Manchester United and Arsenal over 2.5 goals. It finished 3 goals to 2 to the Arsenal, which is over 2.5, so we picked up 16 there. So, 5 out of 5, £67, 80% win rate in the Premiership. But we're going to take a little pause because the fixtures demand it. And we're going to focus on the EFL Cup and FA Cup coming up now. Let's get the ball rolling with the EFL Cup. Southampton host Newcastle in the first leg, and Southampton will feel pretty hard done by with their 1-0 loss to Aston Villa. Ward-Prowse managed to score a goal to break the deadlock, but was controversially chalked off by VAR. Aston Villa went up the other end and scored, and Southampton lost again in the Premiership. This does mean a brief 3-game unbeaten streak was snapped, once again placing Southampton firmly in the relegation battle. But there are perhaps some more positive notes to take since the appointment of Nathan Jones as the boss of the Saints. One thing that may have been instrumental in the change of atmosphere around the club could be their cup runs, as they did beat Cambridge, Sheffield Wednesday, Lincoln and of course Manchester City to reach this semi-final stage. When we compare the stats from the cup to the league, we can see that Southampton averaged 2 goals per game from 2.8 key chances created per 90. The defence is very solid, 0.5 goals against, with clean sheets in 2 of those 4 matches. This is far better than their Premier League statistics of just 0.9 goals per game from 1.5 key chances created per 90, 1.8 goals against per 90, and just the 1 clean sheet in 19, which is about 6 or 7%. Now, this could be a product of facing lower league opposition, but I will just remind you that they did beat Manchester City and keep a clean sheet in the last round. Newcastle make the journey down south following their match against Crystal Palace, a game in which they were frustrated and held to a goalless draw. Now, Newcastle have put a good run of form together in the Premiership, and they have managed to put 3 Premier League teams to bed in the EFL Cup run so far, with victories against the likes of Crystal Palace, Bournemouth and Leicester. And over this cup run, Newcastle have managed 1.3 goals per game from 3.3 key chances created per 90. Their defence has been as immaculate as it is in the league, with 0.3 goals against, 3 clean sheets in 4 encounters. When we compare that to the Premier League statistics of 1.7 goals per game from 2.7 key chances created per 90, defence 0.6 goals against, and 11 clean sheets in 19 matches. Newcastle do appear to be letting their hair down, pressing teams high up the pitch and creating more chances in the cup. And perhaps Eddie Howe's allowing this side to have a little bit more freedom than in the top flight of English football. When we look at the head-to-head record, Newcastle won both the games last year against the Saints by 6 goals to 2. And the Magpies have also come out on top on 3 of the last 4 encounters. A strong side that are chasing European football and silverware. They're going to crush the Saints here. Newcastle to win in the first leg on the road for a full stake. From the EFL Cup to the FA Cup now, we move across to the weekend. Manchester City host Arsenal, and Man City won their last game against Wolves by 3 goals to 0, courtesy of an Erling Haaland hat-trick. And I think City had bounced back from defeats against Southampton and Manchester United ahead of this big clash. Manchester City managed to dispatch a struggling Chelsea side 4 goals to 0 to reach the 3rd round. And you would think that Arsenal would present a little bit more of a challenge than their London compatriots. Arsenal were thrilled with a last-minute winner against Manchester United, with Nketiah netting the winner and a brace in a 3-2 win recently in the league. That does mean the Gunners have opened up a 5-point gap over Manchester City in the Premiership with a game in hand. But in the FA Cup, Arsenal brushed aside League One opposition Oxford United in the third round by 3-0. When we look at the head-to-head record, Manchester City have managed to win each of the last 5 encounters by a margin of 13-2. Over that 5-game sample, they've taken 64% of the possession, outshooting Arsenal on average by 16 shots to 6. When we look at shots on target, this number stands at 5-2. But Arsenal's last win against the Citizens did come in the FA Cup, 2-0 in July of 2020. There is some added spice to this game. 2 elite sides, but also 2 strong managers. Mikel Arteta is facing his mentor, Pep Guardiola, in a student versus master contest. Nevertheless, I think that Manchester City have enough to win against Arsenal here. I think Guardiola will have the beating of his student. Manchester City to win in a full stake at home. From an all-Premier League encounter to a all-League One encounter. Sheffield Wednesday play host to Fleetwood Town, and these sides have literally just played each other, with the Owls winning by 1-0 a couple days ago, courtesy of Marvin Johnson's first half strike. Wednesday have won each of their last 5 matches on the bounce, including a massive 2-1 win against Newcastle in the FA Cup to reach this round. This sort of form has helped propel the Owls to 2nd place in League One, and are hopeful of a return to the Championship when all is said and done this season. Sheffield Wednesday score 1.7 goals per game from 1.7 key chances created per 90, but it's their defensive solidity that has been the key here. 0.7 goals against per game with 16 clean sheets in 27 matches. The away side, Fleetwood, are a side that are struggling to string together a run of good form. They sit in 17th place in League One. They may feel reassured following their victory against Championship side QPR to qualify for this all-League One encounter. However, the stats aren't looking too pretty. Fleetwood score 1.1 goals per game, which is underperforming their 1.2 key chances created per 90. Defensively, they are conceding a goal per game, 6 clean sheets in 26 appearances. When we look at the head-to-head record, Sheffield Wednesday have won both of the games last season, as well as the game a few days ago. And for this reason, priced at about 0.5 or 1/2 fractional odds, I think Sheffield Wednesday look a pretty good bet to qualify for the next round of the Cup. Our final selection appears to be a little bit of a mismatch, as neutrals' favourite Wrexham play host to Sheffield United. And Wrexham managed to beat Maidstone by 3-2 at the weekend. Despite leading 2-0, they did surrender that lead, conceding 2 in quick succession. But Wrexham managed to show their class in the National League, winning by 3-2. This does mean they are currently 2nd and one of the favourites to get promoted into the Football League. To reach this stage in the competition, Wrexham have managed to dispatch Oldham, Farnborough and Championship side Coventry, so they're not going to shy away from the challenge of a side that is nearly 50 places ahead of them in the football pyramid. That side is Sheffield United, who picked up another win in their league, 1-0 against Hull, courtesy of a Daniel Jebsen strike. The Blades are now 8 games unbeaten, and this includes beating Millwall in the 4th round to reach the 4th round of the Cup. And against Wrexham, they do fancy their chances to qualify for the 5th round. Sheffield United are going well this year. They do sit 2nd in the Championship. This game does seem like a little bit of a mismatch. If United keep their heads and apply themselves, they shouldn't really have too much of an issue facing Wrexham, even though it is at the racecourse. Sheffield United to qualify for the next round at 4-5 seems like the bet for me. So there we have it, 4 selections in this slightly different episode. Premier League content will return next week. But we do start things off on the midweek with the EFL Cup. Southampton versus Newcastle. We're going to take Newcastle to pick up a win on the road. Odds of about 4-5, a £20 stake to return at 16.20. Moving on to the weekend and the FA Cup now, we're taking Man City to beat Arsenal in their game. Odds of 3/4, £20 stake to return at 15.20. On the Sunday, we're looking at Sheffield Wednesday and Fleetwood. All League One encounter at 1-2, shortest odds of the day. £20 stake to return 8.80 on the Owls. And wrapping things up with the mismatch of the round, Wrexham versus Sheffield United. We're taking the Blades on the road at 4-5, £20 stake to return 16.20. So across the 4 games, we're going to be risking £80 to try and pick up 56.40. Will we do so? Well, there's only one way to find out, and that's to tune into next episode. But if you have made it to this point in the video, please drop a like down below. My name's been Nerdy Lover, and as always, have yourself a lovely day.